Hello, this is Mamdi's Lounge coming to you from AYV Television. Today we are coming to you from the Bintumani Hotel in Freetown. Today on Mamdi's Lounge I have two guests, Aja Maya Mafofana and also Donald Davis Cole. I have my regular lounge members Hannah Fula and Sadia Mara. Today we are looking at the topic, are women their own worst enemies? So this is a part 2 because if you remember, we did this topic some 2 weeks ago and we took the conversation to our social media platforms and we had a lot of views from our viewers and followers. So we decided to come back and discuss some of these issues, narrow it down to the issues that were highlighted on our social media platforms, which is why we're having a part 2 of this conversation, because you, our viewers, you, our followers, we value your comments, we value your suggestions at all times, and that's why we're here today having a part 2 of the conversation on the topic, are women their own worst enemies? Hello and welcome to Mamdi's Lounge.
We laugh. We cry. With the tastiest guests and the best banter. All signed up by Mamdi's Lounge.
Welcome to you all, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you.
All right, Haja Maya Mafofana has been a past president for 50/50 Group. She's a researcher and consultant on gender issues. Once again, welcome, Haja.
Thank you so much. Hello, viewers.
All right. Donald Davis Cole is a banker and social commentator. He's been on the show before. Welcome yet again to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Sadia Mara is here and Hannah Fula. So today we go straight to the topic up for discussion. I'll start with you, Donald. Are women their own worst enemies?
Yes.
Okay.
Straight up.
Tell us why.
Now, I think in an already male-dominated society, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but that is how it is. In an already male-dominated society, women already have the bar stacked up against them. And most often, they are the ones who, within and around themselves, who pull themselves directly down. Like I was saying to somebody, it's normal for women to say, I don't want to work with a female boss. Because guys, we're cool. I mean, you're used to having terrible male bosses, so having a lady normally even makes it better. She's soft, she will be soft-spoken. Some can be terrible, I know, but then we hardly ever say, Anawu Kutuma boss. But it's regular from women. Oh, if you send me go to our office, we have female marketers, and they'll say, if that boss na woman, not send me go to her. And I'm like, it should be easier for you to understand a woman and how she thinks than I am. Because normally as men, we look forward to having female like marketers and people who come to offices because it's interesting having a discussion with another person. That's not a man. But normally with women, it's like, no, bo no send me go to that woman, they bo dengenan. So I'm like, if you, a woman, cannot stand a woman, then you're like, that's the point where your gender togetherness and everything fades out. Because normally it is always 50-50 when it's against men. Oh, women's rights because the man involved. Oh, gender equality because the man is involved. When it's women, you're like, the woman, then turn. So I think in most cases, politics, I mean, straight up. If all the women voted for woman, Salongo Goma president, T will die. Because you are more than us by numbers. So why do you need to go to parliament and say 30% quota when you have more women? Yeah, in fact, it's even damaging.
All right, so I'll stop you right there. Let me hear from Haja. She's been the past president of 50-50, which is a women's group. Haja, so what's your take on this topic? Do you think women are their own worst enemies? I've been worked with women for so long.
I don't think so. I don't think women are their worst enemies. You have to look at it from a different perspective. Are you talking about the formal sector or are you talking about the informal sector? We know that when there are crises, women are usually the first responders. They come to the community, they help out. However, when we talk about the formal sector, we talk about politics, we talk about the workplace. There are rules which have been set down by males. It's a masculine world, and women have to show their mettle if they are in position of authority. They usually demand perfection. And this is one big quality about women. They are demanding. They want to give of the best. Because if not, they take the standard of one woman to judge all other women. So if one woman fails, it means every other woman has failed. And therefore, when they work with people, be it male or female, they demand very high standards. And some of the women who say, I don't want to work with a female boss, because they're used to seeing males in control. Men should be in control. Their perception, their socialization. They can't imagine a woman being a boss and a woman giving orders to another woman. For some of them, it's against the grain. Women should not give orders to other women. So they would rather take orders from a man than take orders from another female.
So is that not why people easily run to conclusions that we sort of, we come across as our own worst enemies? Because we tend to support men more if a man is in a position, for example. So let's bring it down to the workplace. You know, if a man is in a position, you get all the women working, with him, trying to rally around him to succeed in whatever. But when it comes to women supporting each other in the workplace, for example, it's a whole lot of issue.
Well, we should realize that in the workplace there is politics, a struggle for power. So if you are a female boss, you have to have the knack, you have to have the technique to rally other women to your circle. And this is what the men do. So we also have to do that sort of, we have to go out of our way to see how we can rally other women. We don't just sit back and say, oh, because I'm a female, I expect other women to support me. No, it doesn't play out that way. You have to go out and lobby. You have to make the effort. And this is what men do. They have their networks. They identify somebody in the group, who will be able to rally other people around you. And this is what women, we have to learn. We have to learn the rules of the game. It is a game, and you have to learn how to work it out.
So, Haja, do you subscribe to the girl code, which suggests that women should be supporting women irrespective of,
I believe that we should support women if for upward social mobility, when there are problems, we have to support them. But I wouldn't support a woman who would go and commit a crime. I don't think I should support her because of that. Because I also have my own values, and that is why we demand so much from women. We have to be very ethical in all what we do if we need the support. And I think that is what we have to consider. Women cannot support women blindly. We support women, however, we have to have our standards.
All right, thank you very much. She is Haja Mariam Fofana. Today on Mamdi's Lounge, we're discussing women. We're asking a question whether women are their own worst enemies. We had this conversation before, but we are having a part 2 based on comments or suggestions that we had from our viewers and followers on our social media platforms. So I want us to narrow. Let's look at various scenarios. Now, relationships, friendship, women to women friendship. Sadia, I want you to come in at this point. Let's look at the relationship aspect. Because some people, it's easy for people to run to the conclusions that women are their own worst enemies because of what they see happening, for example, in relationships. Because you have friendships and people been friends for ever, and then somewhere along the line, it just fed stuff like that for petty reasons. So, I mean, I would like you to, what's your take, basically, on issues like this that we're talking about? Relationships, women to women friendship, women to women's group, the relationship in these situations.
Thanks, Mamdi. So, when I think of women's relationship, I was thinking about this yesterday, and I think oftentimes where we go wrong is we don't even define friendships. So just because you're squaddies or members of the same club doesn't necessarily mean you're friends. Just because someone is your workmate doesn't mean you're friends.
Absolutely.
So sometimes there's an expectation mismatch there. You think this person is your friend. Just because even you hang out doesn't mean you're friends. And that's where the problem is. So you have this expectation, but the person is not even aware you have the same expectation. Personally, I have very few friends. And if you are my friend, you know you are my friend. We have an understanding. So I keep my circle small. But I know a lot of people, especially now with the rise of social media, everybody wants to be associated with someone. So you're always hanging out and taking pictures and going to places. But for the girl code to work, we have to have an understanding. And I think in terms of relationships, so if we take, for example, where maybe a woman, you get promoted, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you move up the ladder, the social ladder, and then your friends start feeling like, oh, you think you're better than us now? That's because to start, you were not friends in the first place, because friends support each other. That's how I see it. Like you want to, so the people in my circle, they want to see me win, so they will support me and they would not feel like they're competing with me. And then if you take another example where a woman says, oh, go keep me, man. Like, come on, I see it this way. The man is a common factor here, okay? You have an arrangement with the man. The woman has an arrangement with the man. Yes, she's aware, even if she was aware that you have an arrangement with the man, why don't you hold the man responsible? He's the one you have an arrangement with. He's the one you have a contract with, and that's what's binding. So when people like come out, then go get man, so then to go meet up a man, you see man and they go curse other man. I don't get that. Like, no go curse the woman. Why you not go meet the man?
For me, that's because regardless whether you say, you have a friendship with another woman, it just has to do with this it's not written, this code that we're talking about. It's kind of like a loyalty code, that women, we should seek each other's interest. That's just the expected thing. So naturally we expect that because we kind of share a lot of pains, joys, the same sort of things. We go through the same things. So we are expected to understand how another woman should feel. And therefore, if I know she will feel this way, I shouldn't do this, that sort of thing. And we're expected to be supportive of a woman who's risen to a higher position. And so there should not be any kind of competition. But then the problem is that, I don't know, but my experience is that we women, we are not very supportive of other women, of ourselves. Whether it's because the woman has been given a higher position and elevation in the workplace, the people who start pulling that woman down would be the other women in the office, who would not give her the support. I don't know if it's just a natural thing for men, members of the opposite sex to always get along better. Sometimes men prefer women bosses because they it's like that. And the women prefer the male bosses, maybe because the men have a way with the women that the women feel better. Or they I don't know, maybe they compete for the man's attention, for his acceptance and that sort of thing. Whilst a woman in an authoritative position, or a woman in authority has to stand for certain things. And by the time she stands for those things, the other women in that institution start, what do you think saying be? We're the ones who will start to question your authority, because we still are victims of the patriarchy in the society. So we think that we cannot, I go with Haja on that point, that we just cannot see other women in such positions doing well. So we start to challenge them. So in short, we're victims of a system that we continue to perpetrate on our fellow women and in society.
Yeah, so Sadia mentioned something about friends should support each other. Yeah. For me, I think it's a supposition. That's what we suppose. You know, we suppose that friends must support another friend. Sometimes, yes, you have a small circle of friends. Some things you don't get to know about, or some things you're not even aware that your friend feels a certain way about you. For example, you can have, I know of friends who've been friends, they're like real friends, you see them, they're like sisters, they are always together, they grew up, they do a lot of things together. But one of them attempted to step out and do something, a self-development move. And the other one got a little uneasy. So every time you will hear, maybe if this other friend talks to another person in a certain way, you will hear the other friend say, "Hey, I don't know if that this school where you don't go, this book you don't learn now." You know, but they've always been friends. But you never get to see some of these things if you still remain at the same, if you still remain at par. But once you step out,
so it's like at the minute you become elevated or you do something.
Yeah. So you understand. So sometimes this person can be your friend. Yeah, she's been looking out for you in certain ways. But then you decided to step out of the space that you were in, and they take it to be something else. But to the point that it starts making you feel as if you are ignoring them because you've been to this level, or you're associated with some other.
I don't think that's just for women though, because the thing is, as a human being, you naturally outgrow certain things. It's just the way it is. If you're at the same level with the same people, like if you're growing in life, there are certain things you'd outgrow. There are certain friendships. So I think for me, I don't take note of negative experiences I've had with women. That's the funny thing. I tend to remember the good ones, because for me to be where I am today, I know a lot of women have supported me. But that said, I think it's us making peace with the fact that that shouldn't stop us. It's going to happen.
It shouldn't stop us, but we are trying to shine a light on something that we think has been
because sometimes it's jealousy. It just happens. These are petty jealousies. Just people have tendencies like that. I don't think it necessarily has to do with the fact that you're a woman. I'm sure men have the same issues as well. No, you can't. No, no.
All right.
Men. It's more subtle for men. I think
pettiness is at a very high degree for women. You notice everything.
No, I disagree. I think it's because men are very subtle. You know, say man then they badat themselves, but they will still be friends. You not gonna know past something happen because they want to stay friends. Because
the woman thinks with her heart.
Yeah. Men know how to manage it well.
A man understands that if I am in this thing and we're doing business, I will forget the pettiness, put it aside, and look at. I'm going to look at the money that I'm going to get or make out of this deal. You know, so I'm not going to mind the pettiness. But women, on the other hand, where it's about our hearts, you know, get mindo, fitiai me, or you know, really, we can take the thing down.
I think it's a product of the general society.
Yeah, it comes back to the patriarchy.
I mean, as a man, you're born into this dominance already. So you're not like bothered about everything around you. I mean, a guy buys a car, okay, he buy motor.
But you don't have men who also complain.
I will be go school now because they drive motor. I've had men say that. So
the level of
so they have that.
Reaction
not like for say man they not get them, but we focus on it.
I've had friends who things go better for them than me literally, and they're like, I'm like,
but that's you.
I'm not bothered.
That's you.
Most men would not really bother ourselves.
No, they would not say it.
We will not go around showing it and
that's
doing
the
it.
point.
Yes.
We're bothered.
That's So you just that you manage it well. It doesn't mean it's not there.
Proper control. You, for some reason.
I wouldn't say it's under proper control. It can be. Sometimes it's there. You know, it's
women tend to be more hormonal.
Men just know some money. They get in company heart. Then go years. You know, ever in company no. Past something situation presents itself. Now they know say,
hold on.
Well, this man where men do that.
Oh, come on.
So it's not a woman's thing.
People around me, I know this. They talk about me. He hates me, God. But at the first person they call me every morning for check out they do.
Because you want to know.
I look you. I'm like. I know who you are. I know you're up to what. I'm cool.
But we women, we can't stand that.
Okay.
Me, I'm not going to say no like me. I'm going along with you. It's just it's not in our nature.
Like, daggers always drawn. You're ready to fight and stuff. But then The point is, because of the need to be accepted and for women to seem to be at par with men, women also have to understand that because you fight a different fight from the men, you're not going to be real friends. It's not going to be as easy for you because you want to dominate the office. The men are naturally going to support you. Yeah, this woman they try, this woman they try. And you're like, why not? For me, I'm okay if a man is promoted to MD in my office. Waiting on me for me, nothing. But for woman, we all would sit back and say, no man on the MD so. We would be cool on the outside, but then with other women, you're like, well, I know the woman, I don't go. Because you're fighting an already skewed society.
Yes.
We're cool. I'm born to dominate. I'm a man. That's how I'm born to think. My sisters.
But can I say, I like a point Haja raised earlier.
You the woman, you can't marry. Other man they can get in them so many videos with the boy picking, like I and the boy picking. Because they think, oh, he keeps the family name going. So the lady or the daughter now needs to step up to a level to the boy. For let the papa see the look say, well, okay, yes. Instead don't try. Log you something.
All right, so let me pause you there and have just a word or two.
I think that when you talk about men are very, very competitive.
Yes.
Look at what happens during the election period. Look at what happens in politics. The amount of violence that occurs amongst men, the way they try to harm each other. Women, we don't go that far. We show our feelings. Whereas you men now, you are able to keep whatever poison you have within you, and you wait for a particular time to just bring it out. Whereas women now, they show you what they think about you from the beginning. And this is, we cannot hide our feelings because we were raised to be cooperative. We have to learn to be cooperative, not competitive. And you men, we are raised to be competitive and hide your feelings.
No,
a man who shows his feelings is considered a weak man. So even if you are bleeding within, you are not supposed to weep.
Big man not the cry.
Man is not expected.
No, man not the cry.
Stereotyping men and women. So you hide your feelings and you wait and you plan. You know, you plan very, very mischievous things to do to people, and then you spring it on them.
Yes,
whereas with a woman now, you know where you are with a woman, whether she likes you or she doesn't like you. She shows her feelings. So right from birth, she has been nurtured to show.
The issue I'm going to have with this thing is that let us go back to genealogy.
Can I make my point before I forget?
Hold up.
Hold on.
Let's go back to genealogy. More male children are born.
Exactly.
More girl child survive.
Exactly.
I don't take it from any woman to tell me the women are the weaker sex. No way.
We are not.
You are not.
We're not the weaker sex.
No, we're physically weaker.
No.
That doesn't mean we're
do you want us to go into
physicals?
physicals?
No, we're physically.
If I subject my body to what a woman has to go through, say monthly, I die.
That's different. It's just because your makeup is different.
No.
If it comes
so
to
physically, come on. The things you have to go through, physically, emotionally, you are an emotional wreck normally. Like Aja was saying, I can hate somebody to his guts and with a laugh and blow eat at the same place. I'm ready to kill him next week.
Yeah.
I would buy the poison and kill him.
Yeah.
The moment you see, in fact, you rival, you don't blue, you don't black, you don't sweat, you don't have. Me, I would see the man who I know is my rival to this woman, I'll be like, this, and the waiter. Next year, the go and something.
Yes.
So we are able to put our emotions under check. But you're strong. The issue is, you have allowed society to tell you are weak. So you come and say, we're under the weaker sex, and it sinks in your head. We're weak. So it's you, the weak people, fighting to be strong. So that's why you need to fight yourselves. You cannot fight a man already because you think the man is more powerful.
But
so you want to fight yourselves to become powerful. That's the point.
So I just said something earlier. So the rules that we play by are set by men, right? So when a man can be assertive and people think it's okay. But when a woman is assertive, they say,
thing.
"Oh, you're too aggressive.
Yes.
It's too this."
They make like man.
They make like man.
Yeah.
You understand? And these are the traits that we say. We say these are the traits of a leader. But if a woman is a leader and she exhibits those traits, we say, it's too fussy. It's too this. And then let's think about it. I think even with this, women don't worst enemies, my position changes depending on what we're talking about. But let's think about these elections where men are involved. If a woman says she wants to contest, now woman then they go cussing mama. Now woman then they, not a man then they go meet her. Now same woman then they go sit on the streets. Then last election, not a woman then they go there and they strip themselves naked and go cuss people there. So now woman then now we say, so even men take advantage of that. They know women can be their own worst enemies, and sometimes they employ that tool. So even within work settings, I don't think it's because the woman is too much. It's just that like Haja said earlier, we're just not used to having women in positions of leadership, so people don't know how to handle it. And then obviously, I think generally, we tend to gravitate towards the opposite sex. So if man are you boss, yeah, you go sabi, I go smile to, I go make. I mean, even to police, even the police, if you are driving, I don't in a taxi where police woman pull driver over, I they do, he don't, he flatters her, he gives her compliments, and she lets him go. If me police pull me over and a woman police, that big, they take. You understand? Because it's just, I think it's just how it is.
A woman would flirt with a man.
Yeah.
She uses her feminine powers or whatever.
Yes.
Over a man. And some women can skillfully control her male boss.
Yes.
As opposed to her female boss. So the females, we have the sixth senses, you know. So we see everything.
Yes.
We look at you, we run.
Yeah.
You know, we see you. Even what you're trying to hide, we can tell.
Yes.
We can figure you out in a few seconds, you know, say that this one,
Do you know it's more women who post beautiful brains or something? That's this thing they're calling out. It is accepting that you are not expected to be a beautiful woman and have education or be smart. I go school with people, the woman that beats me from class 1 till down school. Yakama Ma went to university at 16, it beats all till down school. We be now 22, 23. She was a girl, not even a lady there. So when you come and you say, they graduated the other day and all the pictures were like beautiful brains, and I'm like, you don't know, so you forget sense naturally as much a man. And it's women.
I agree. Because we think it's either or.
See me, well, I'm already ugly, but see if I were a cute guy and I say,
cute
I'm expected to be smart.
Yeah.
So, within yourselves, you have already short-paid yourselves. That's the problem. You measure yourself to a point where that should be your starting point.
Society has short-paid.
You have allowed society.
Yeah.
I mean, if the few women who break out find aggression from both ends. The man and the one that and the woman and they say, "What do you?"
Why should you break out?
Exactly. When you as a woman try to assert yourself, the men are like, you too much. And then,
the truth is, it's not favoring you. That's the point. And your women folk are not really helping.
That's the point.
That's the point.
Exactly.
So the relationship thing, when you come to even the mother-in-law
and
daughter-in-law relationship or sister-in-law, sister-in-law relationships, it's the same thing. You find out that the mother-in-law naturally, in many cases, not in all, does not accept her daughter-in-law. The sister-in-law sees the woman, the wife of her brother, as somebody coming to take her brother's property, not there questioning your motives for being in the relationship in the first place. You know, and so we women are always in a position where we have to prove ourselves against the other woman. We're kind of pitched against each other all the time in the home setting.
Yes, Haja.
You know, Haja.
I'm a mother-in-law. I have 4 sons, so I have 4 daughters. I always tell people I don't have daughters-in-law. I have daughters. When my sons get married, I get daughters, and my daughters-in-law, I will call them my daughters-in-love. They are very, very good and kind to me. They dress me, they want me to dress like a queen. Because first of all, I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in the relationship between my sons and myself. I realize that there are different relationships. My daughters-in-law satisfy needs which I cannot give to my sons. And I satisfy certain needs for my sons which the wives cannot give. So we understand that relationship. I'm not jealous of them. I'm confident. I want my sons to make them happy, because I have just one daughter and I want her husband to make her happy. Because I believe in karma, that whatever you do comes back to you. So if you treat other people's daughters badly, your own daughter would also be treated badly. So you see, it depends on your confidence, your self-confidence as a woman. You know, you feel slighted easily because, you feel slighted.
I want to see the flip side. Let's just try to understand what goes on in the mind of that woman, that mother-in-law that is not like you, the opposite of you. Why does she behave the way she behaves to the other woman?
Yeah. First of all, let's just look at it. Maybe she doesn't have the necessary exposure. Doesn't realize the different relationships. She sees her son as the provider and everything. But if you are self-made, you don't have to depend on your children for whatever you need. You do not see this woman as a threat. That whatever your sons give to you is just, that's it. I'm lucky, it's a blessing, etc. You don't demand it. You realize that it's just part of it. You are self-made. So this other woman now, she depends on her son. That's how she has been raised. She has spent all her resources taking care of her son. And some of the daughters-in-law, when they come in, there is a fight. I don't want mother-in-law. Mother-in-law, good or bad, make it die. That's what you hear. And that's what another mother-in-law said, daughter-in-law, good or bad, let it die. Let it die. So you see, already there is a conflict because of the perception that people bring into the marriage. You also have this fight also between sons-in-laws and mothers-in-laws. They also fight. There are some sons-in-law, they can't stand their mothers-in-law because they feel that the mother-in-law is interfering in the relationship. So I don't want to limit it just to the women. Men also have a problem. But however, for women, it's more outstanding because we show it out. We cannot hide our feelings.
I like that. All right, before you come in, Sadia, let me just quickly remind our viewers that you're watching Mamdi's Lounge is coming to you from the Bintu Mani Hotel. And today we're having a part 2 of the topic, Are Women Their Own Worst Enemies? Hello and welcome to Mamdi's Lounge.
We laugh. We cry. With the tastiest guests and the best banter. All signed up by Mamdi's Lounge.
So in the lounge today, I have Ahaja Mayama Fofana, past president of the 50/50 group. She's a researcher and consultant on gender issues. I also have Mr. Donald Davis Cole. Donald is a banker and a social commentator. Sadia, of course, is here, my usual member here, and Hannah Fuller. So we continue with the conversation. My name is Mamdi Kamara.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Ma. So I think we're missing a big piece of the puzzle when we talk about in-law, mother-daughter, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship, and that's the man.
Sure.
Because the man is the center point, right? And some men, so when you go marry a woman, you don't go say, cook for me, nasumi mama can make her, nasumi mama did this. And that's where the problem is. So the nasumi mama can make, nasumi mama they cook this, nasumi mama they do that. If you create an environment where the woman, you let the mom understand, like you. So if the mom doesn't understand her position, like Aja pointed out, so when you're self-secure, you know that there are needs you meet in your son's life that a woman doesn't, and all that. If the mom doesn't understand that, it's the man's place to help the mom understand her position and the woman and his wife to understand their position, because oftentimes men use that to their advantage. So they put the women at loggerheads, and so they can do whatever. They play you.
Haja mentioned something about maybe there's this man, the mother did everything. I mean, she stopped living just to make this man be the person that he is.
Well, can I get a flip side? What about the woman? What if you back your mama don't give everything for it? Because sometimes we think about that. We say that all the time.
So we are looking
mama
at
don't give
mother.
everything for raising Peking. But
Yes.
what about the woman? Maybe the mother made the same sacrifices for her. Now we're acting like she doesn't
So we
even
are
count.
looking
It's
at
about
the
pleasing the husband and
relationship.
family.
So mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationships, which most of the time, I mean, like I keep saying, if you have 5 women around this table, you ask married women, you'll have maybe like 3 out of 5 saying, my mother-in-law and I are not so okay. You understand? So we are thinking, or we expect that because they are women, naturally, they should, understand each other. Because, of course, like Haja mentioned, yes, if you are exposed, if you are self-made, it's easy for you to understand that. But what about those women
Poverty.
who are not as exposed or self-made as Aja?
But I think it's physical poverty is one, and then there's the mentality as well. So it's not just physical poverty, there's also the mentality, right? Because let's think about this. Marriage is 2 people coming together. So it's not just the man. And the man is not just going to marry the woman. She's going, even if that's what happens, the man takes care of the woman. She serves him in some way. When people say, oh, woman, you do not, you sit down, your man, they go work. Even that woman waiting at us. If you don't sit down at us for morning, say evening, so you don't see woman where the men picking them, say now picking them no more. Even if you're babysitting for a few hours. So if a woman is giving up her time, right? She opts to stay home, even if she's a full-time housewife. She's making sacrifices. So whatever the man brings in is between the 2 of them. So when people say, oh, he can't sit down, he can't marry, that man and mama don't suffer para. What about the woman? She brings something to the table. What if the woman instead of mama don't make sacrifice for Rizam? And then now the man's family thinks, oh, you're here to eat for my husband, but they're building a home together.
Exactly.
And if the man is able to do as well as he does out there, it's because he has a stable home. It's because the woman is able to take care of the other things that he cannot do for himself. So we need to have a balance in that conversation.
If I could take from what I said there left, the whole issue about the relationship, it's about power and control. In the in-law situation, the mama don't dey in a position where he able controlling boy picking. He don't dey as the focal person, organize this bobo in life from the time he be baby, until he grow, become an adult and all of that. And then it's about letting go of that power to a lot of women. Maybe they're not even realize that that power struggle. So automatically this other woman can inside when at the wife or fiance, you already begin to look and say, okay, this one can't take me power and me and so I think for me that is the key problem in those sort of relationships. Power over your son, and how for let go and say, okay, things don't change. It not mean say you relationship with your son they change, but it's just that this time change in the sense that he will still care for you.
He will still love you.
Still love you.
He will still
care for you. But there's something. The wife has a different role, a different place in your life, and you can't compare that to that of a mother.
Okay. The mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law relationship always comes out this way. If the mother-in-law is rich or okay, the daughter-in-law becomes a gold digger. If they are, I'm saying that's how they figure it. Most people figure it.
If the mother-in-law is rich,
This
the family is rich.
Yes, this picking don't come, especially if they are not. There's this class issue. This napo picking, mina this na da da da. Gold digger. If you're poor and you have a wealthy daughter-in-law coming in, now become me poor. In family get money, so me boy picking listen me again. My wife in family they talk to.
Complex.
You have to understand. See, Haja has said it in one package. Even when you get married, well, I'm not married, but I can understand a few things. You
I
marry.
thought you said you were married.
No, I wasn't. You marry one person with multiple personalities. So you marry a wife, you marry a mother, you marry your partner, you marry
friend.
your police officer at home. She's everything
Thank you.
in
You've
one, and the husband is also everything in one
the
for
fact
you.
that women are good at multitasking.
Oh yes, the same applies for the man. You marry your boyfriend, your husband, your children's father, your son, because at some point in time they lock down the dance. You don't go no side. Like are they for men? I'm like,
the problem with that man is that you have to share him with so many others. Whilst in the case of the woman, you might
no.
just say,
How do you share him?
That one man who is your husband, your lover, your friend, your best friend, your provider, your soulmate, whatever you choose to call him, is equally those things to another woman.
Well, I am looking at the ideal situation for a man like me who would marry and not cheat on my wife, so that's what I'm looking at. But I go back to Aja. It's understanding your role and your responsibilities and know where your boundaries find themselves. You, the daughter-in-law, should know, well, this woman ain't getting picking. You got to feel this way. That is off. You, the mother-in-law, should know, okay, I'm man. Make myself ease off.
Donald,
It is finding that middle point.
Mothers do. Yeah? For example, for the life of me, that woman is married to your son. They live together. Then one mother-in-law, one Saturday morning will come with one basket of fufu, as if the wife is not capable of cooking for her husband. There are ways you do it that it's not going to look offensive, or it's not going to look like you're overstepping your boundaries.
That is what
But
I'm
that
saying.
is the problem, part of the problem. Sometimes the mothers-in-law do not know how to where to draw the
And
line.
that is where I would agree with Sadia that you blame the boys.
It's a man.
Me?
So I like what Haja said
How do
at
you come
the
in?
start. I think I know that's something one of my friends got married, and when the mom was giving her speech, she says today I've gained a daughter. I think it's so important when you communicate that at the start and say, you are not my daughter-in-law, you're my daughter. You gain that trust.
Yes.
You win that woman over from the start, because now she doesn't feel like an outsider. Because what happens is when a woman when the mother treats the daughter-in-law they treat the daughter as an outsider, and then you see mothers-in-law who would confide in their sons. So the woman is there, they pull the son aside, they go and talk. And then when they want to ask for things, they go to the son. It's fine, we understand the relationships, but if that man is married, you're letting the woman know you are an outsider, you're not part of the family. So these are simple things, but if you communicate that, not even it should be verbal. If you communicate that, you know what, you are my daughter. Now you're not my daughter-in-law. When you do that,
it comes back to
yes, I know, but that's not. I said that there's a gentleman, but the mother-in-law, both parties have a part to play.
Yes.
Because I've seen cases where some women are terror to them, and it comes to the mindset. So
if the husband becomes
if you have
the
a certain
arbitrator,
mindset, say this,
because you love your mom and you love your wife, you don't want any of them fighting. So what you do is stand in the middle and pull them together. Look. Mamzi, no. You don't do this. Or maybe no. So if you have mothers-in-law staying at home and they'll slap the daughter-in-law, I walk home. My mama slap me with. If they move that next day, you slap me with.
All right, so let me talk. All right, so let me bring in another scenario.
If you have slapped my wife and I have driven my mother out of the house, are you the wife go slap the mama not to die now? So I make it clear you don't fight in this place.
Right. So
I'm in the middle of you two. If there's a problem, come to me.
The two women pitched against each other.
No, I stand in the middle and ensure that they do not fight.
The women
Mama, na me wife this
against
you like that,
other.
you know, like I don't marry that. You baby, you mama, I'm born you. Get herself.
Yes,
so you have to find the midpoint.
But that's what I'm saying.
They're fighting because they would always fight their women. They want to
the reason why you needed to come in between to be the arbitrator is because women are pitched against each other.
But from the onset, sometimes if you have let both parties know how much you feel about the other person,
But that's
It's
one
helping.
thing. That's one
Haja
thing.
is one
Helping
in
to let-
what?
No,
I don't know,
I'm not saying use
1,000 or
Haja.
something.
So helping to let
you know,
both
to have a
parties
mother-in-law
know
that
is one
really
thing.
loves you
So
and
it
takes
also
you
the
as her own
responsibility
daughter.
Of the parties involved.
Of the parties involved also has a responsibility.
Do
to
you
each
know
other.
that son-in-laws have a very good time with their mothers-in-law?
Not all.
Not all.
No, most of the time it's okay.
Yeah. All
You
right.
know, lost case now, mother they got to fix now they win.
Okay,
Good
so
or bad.
Haja,
That's the way.
you have worked with, you have been working, you've been a president for 50-50, you've led a women's group, and you've been working with women, you know. So, first of all, that experience, does it give you, at any point, has that given you the idea that women, indeed, for some people to conclude that we are our own worst enemies is really because of some of these behavior? Has that ever occurred to you? I mean, dealing with women?
I'm dealing with women. I've seen that sometimes women can be very supportive of one another. When you take, for example, like the 50-50 group of which I was past president, we train women. We want them to succeed. We want them to become presidents. However, there's a caveat. When we go to vote, when we go to the polling station to vote, people usually vote according to party lines. We should not forget that. That is why we have found it so difficult to have a female president. Because when we go to vote, we do not vote for women. Many times we vote for people we believe. For example, somebody of a man whom we believe can do better than the woman.
So how do you explain that, Haga? I mean, we are supportive of one another as women.
Yes,
but yet,
yes.
when it comes to actualizing it in some situations, we don't.
I think first of all, if you want to become a leader, you don't have to wait until just 3 months before the elections and then you come and say, I want to be president. You have to start very early. Work just like the bad, and you have to do it better. Make yourself known in the community. Because it's not just the educated women here who would vote for you. You also have women whom you have to reach out to. Women living in rural areas. You have to appeal to them. You have to show them reasons why they have to vote for you and not vote for that other man. That other man, they may have known that man for several years. That man has done so much in their community. And these are the things you look for when they support somebody. What have you done? They ask. What have you done for the community?
But the problem is that many women would rather see a man still in a power, in that position.
Yeah.
Position of power.
Look at how many women voted for
Zainab Bangura or even the other
look at the
lady,
mayor.
David
Look at the
Scott.
mayor. Look at the mayor. Look at the mayor. Here we have a female mayor. You take McKinney, we have a female mayor. Why did they support these women? Why did these women win? So we have to ask ourselves, why did these women win? Why did people not support the other women? So that is where we have
to. The mayoral position might not be on the same level as that of a president. So we can give that one. But then when it comes to the position of president, we scrutinize the women even more and even harder. And then there's a lot of times there's so much double standards.
I think here we vote generally on party lines. That we have to have clear. If any woman, say if a woman was made the flag bearer of either the APC or the SLPP, you would be sure that woman would have won the elections. Because generally we vote on party lines. And people are going to support their party.
I really would like us to put that to the test one day. But I think because so far for now, it will still be a theory.
It's a theory because
we think that would be because we think these two parties are so popular that anybody. So that means,
So I don't think, so I agree with the party lines thing, but I think also, I'm speaking for myself now. I think oftentimes the women that are the leaders that we see, so it's only when it's time for they want certain things. That's when they try to reach out to the.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been to events where women's events, and even people steal a cack. Like they're not then get then we have cabal thing. They know the people they talk to, but when it's time when they need certain things and they want to run for certain things, then all of a sudden they want to act like, oh, they care about every woman.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the problem is. If you I believe, like you were saying, when we hold women, we want somebody that will represent us well. For me, if I'm going to vote for a female leader, I want somebody who is genuine, somebody who is what's the word? Who's
How do you
authentic.
determine?
No, but the question is,
No,
do you ever ask for the men to be genuine?
I'm not. So
you don't even ask.
I'm not. I don't.
You
I'm
just
not,
vote for them.
So do you look
So
at
why do you want
no,
these women to be genuine?
So let me say.
Okay, on the point you just raised, the point you just raised on women. These are still business what you talk about. But you have men who are equally.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing when, for example, a woman. We're all sitting here in this room. One woman comes in. You don't know her from Adam.
Yes.
You look at her up and down. I don't like her. Just looking at her, I just don't like her. And we're like that.
That is you.
That's women.
That is what women do.
That's what we do. And sometimes, I mean, for me, from the political point of view, sometimes even if the woman shows that she is capable or that she can, but we always, I don't like her, and I don't like the way she's talking or the way she talks, the way she does this. She's proud. She's aristo.
I don't think it's always that. So recently I was I know there are cases where you
I've
don't
heard
like
people
a woman
say that,
for no
for example,
reason.
the mayor, they talk proper Creole. They've said things like that about her on the radio, but it's like, for me, I just think that women, we tend to get the hard part of everything.
Yes.
It's more difficult for
give
us,
yourself
and we women
than you give the
tend to
other people.
scrutinize ourselves a lot more. You
I
know,
agree,
we
because
dress up, we want to look good, but let me tell you, the men do not even have the time to see whether this is strapped on properly and
But
all
I
of
don't
that.
think
We're the ones who scrutinize ourselves a lot more.
Sometimes women go, I've seen it a lot. Women go to places and they're like, you know that and me? Like, that's where
Also
it
the
starts.
men.
No, but you're just being typical woman.
No, it's not
You're just being
typical
typical
woman.
woman. You notice it.
So the men, in
If
fact,
I
the men
tell
I think
you-
are the ones
No.
who perpetrate that
If
more
I
than
tell
men.
you-
For me, in my experience, it's been with some women. I think if you go to a place, if you're trying to win us over as a woman,
Because you see it from a woman's
because
perspective.
relatability. No, the
Do
thing
you
is,
want me to tell you how many
relatability
broke
is
men
a
I
big
knew
factor
10 years ago?
with us when you
And
want
now
to
you
score
have
with
to
the
go to the
woman. It's
offices
how
and
you
they're like, I'm
relate
like,
to people.
Who you
Let's
said
not ignore
5
that.
years ago you are just a
No,
problem.
we are not ignoring that.
But I am okay
No,
with them.
relatability is very, very important for us women. So when you're a woman, you understand the rules of the game. That if I'm going to relate to fellow women,
Sadia.
this is what's important to
Sadia.
women, and you play by those
Let me help
rules.
you. You need to get to that point in Sierra Leone. You say nothing. Any kind woman, lawmaker and president.
No,
No, you need to
no,
get
no,
to
no,
that point.
no, no,
Hold on.
no.
You need to get to that point
So
of wanting it so badly that you're going to say,
No.
any ID.
No, we're not
Make
just
me
going to
my
have a female
Hold on,
president to tick the box.
Because we have had men and two to form, me I not see better it too. So why not get up on so you not think, okay, any I turn.
No.
Lord put him at this.
No, not any
Because-
outside.
No,
Not any
because
outside.
what you do is
Let's put a woman
Hold on,
who can.
hold on.
your
For
problem
me,
is if you put a normal man
I
and a normal
understand
woman,
what he's saying.
you're going to give that woman so much issues that she will not
From
qualify.
the point of view that when you look at the quality of men and the quality of leadership that the men have given us over years.
Point him here.
Huh?
Sir.
And
Why
what
not
we've
just
the fact
get
that
any
we
woman?
have not never ever given a woman that opportunity to serve. I don't think we have been fair to our women.
So let me
You're
say,
not losing out
so
on anything
personally,
anyway.
I am not going to just vote for a woman simply because she's a woman. There are things that we need to get right. And for me, if we're going to have a female president, we want one that would perform. So that next time when we put
Have the
forward a
men really
candidate,
performed?
people will
What's your
vote
yardstick
for
for
them.
the performance?
That's why I told
How
you
has
I
it
didn't
been
vote.
performed?
So it was the only time I had a chance
the
to
point
vote,
is,
and
what
I
you
did
they
not
use as
vote.
the yardstick for
Okay,
Pudu woman?
before we come to the yardstick, let me have Aja. This issue about women, like I would say, with the judge we self too harshly, in my opinion. Yeah. We always think that women we're supposed to behave in a certain way. A man can come in here, you see people they say they don't bother for saying hello to them. We just go about in business. It's okay.
Yeah.
But if woman can't answer now, you do the same thing. They will say, look, this woman, look how they make you meet towards you. They don't tell where I do.
No, they're training.
And most of the time, you get these comments from even the women.
No, it's the
folk.
women.
So you see,
not
so
bothered.
sometimes with all these things, with all these little things, it's easy for somebody to say, "But woman, and body, I wanna know
No.
So the man then they take advantage of some of the situation there so and come in and just rock the boat some more. So I just think to say, Aja, I mean, I think I need you to come in at this point and just, you've had submissions from everybody.
I think, first of all, it's a case of divide and rule. The men want to divide us, so they point this out
and they
to
have
us.
to a certain extent.
And they have been able to divide us.
Yeah.
So where they divide us, they are able to grab power. And when, for example, when you get power, especially in the African context, when you get power, you get resources. And there are few positions up there. Everybody's clamoring for it. And the few positions that are left for women now that we're talking about affirmative action, etc., all of us are running to get to those positions. And the men don't want to give us space. So they start saying, look, women don't support women. And the yardstick that they set, society sets for us, how we judge women, it's so high the standard. A man can have several partners, but a woman, they say playboy, whatever it is to be called. But when a woman does it, trouble for you. You are labeled.
You are labeled. You would have a woman who would stand for a president and not be married, if you consider her to be a responsible woman.
I think though
we do not, the same way we want women to have or be respected of those standards, we do not expect the same from men.
But maybe it's because we place value on women. It's a twisted thing, but I think it's because we place so much value on women that the standard.
Double standard thing.
No, let's go back to the way. I think the way our society was structured initially before all this Western influences and stuff. I think women had a high position in society. We valued women.
Yes.
And up till now, but then now other things have filtered in, and we get to choose where we value women and where we hold them to standards and where we don't. That's where the problem is. So because we know women, if you hold someone to a higher standard, it's because you expect so much from them, right? It's because you know what they bring to the table. But so that, I think that's inherently why we hold women to different standards. But I still go back to what I said earlier. I think if you're a woman and you're in a position of leadership, or if you're running for politics or whatever, understand the rules of the game. Understand what rules we play by in our society, especially if you have to win over the women folk, and play by those rules.
Sadia?
It's unfortunate that I'm a man in all of this.
No, it's
but
okay.
then look,
that's why we want to have.
Let us have the dumbest woman as president any day.
No, I'm not.
Because
I don't subscribe to that really.
For 57 or 58 years, the men have not taken us to El Dorado. So, I mean, now for the Alassane Alusan, basically. So what's this point? So, okay, for the fun of it, just put a woman there. Let's say I feel like in Gompi Mandela will say now all long thing. Because you, the women, you have the same ones who raise this the bar so high for your colleagues, they can't even meet it. Why do you want to fight for 30% in parliament when all of the women can just decide to fill that parliament with every woman available? Why do you need to beg for it? When you can now say, no, man, and pass Maglo, vote for woman, put them there. You can do it. You have the numbers in the election.
Issue of how women conduct themselves in political parties, for example. Women, again, we would dance. We're the ones who are going to cook.
Yes.
We're the ones who go to the rallies. We go to the halls. We sit there and everything. We mobilize the support.
Yes.
But and when one woman decides that she wants to get you to support her, we don't. Then at the same time, the women, I don't know how they are in parliament, Haja, but I know you deal with them. Women in political parties, for example, how do they get along, in terms of issues? Would you leave the stance of your political party on a particular issue just because you're a woman and this is an issue that affects the woman, and the woman, all the women need to speak as one unified voice on this particular issue? Have you ever seen a situation where the women...
I found that very rare, that they leave the stance that their party has taken to support women's issues. It's so rare. Because, you see, politics is about power. They belong to a political party. And if they deviate from the standard or the norms of that political party, they are sure they would be elected again. They would be given their party symbol. So you see, this is it. The men have made the rules, and they want to make sure that we follow these rules.
And you are allowing them to.
Well, we have to
Because
change the rules.
That's
why
you
you people can help us
election, we know the vote
change the rules.
For no man, any party who put man as presidential candidate, let's forget.
Okay,
But,
well, let's
do you understand
help us
that
change
for
the
a
rules.
woman to succeed, if you check,
They will be
you
forced to
need
put a woman.
the majority is you need what's the word? The masses. You need their support. It's not the intellectuals.
No.
It's the masses. It's the market women. It's the this. But oftentimes, we speak the big English. We hold these meetings, and if you think about it, in Sierra Leone, we have the educated few, and then we have the masses.
In some cases.
So if you're able to win the masses over, right, then you stand a chance to run for any position in this country. But we haven't done
The
that,
educated
and I think
women,
that's
they
where the
think just like
problem
the Abacha
cases,
ladies. When
yes,
it comes
what
to
about-
women's issue, na the
Let me
same
tell
one
you,
all the time.
in some
How are the
cases
threats now
also-
bank and parliament and so on, the threats now Abacha and Kube. The same way.
Exactly.
It's not different by your levels of education. It's just a woman's thing. Una want for faith to herself. That's the point.
Well, men fight themselves as well.
Oh yes, but we are better able to manage
but
it.
the men
this
can come
issue,
together. For
can-
example,
we can manage
you've
it.
seen some political situations that occurred over the past election. How were people, and even other elections, how were these groups of men able to come together as one?
They don't make peaceful.
Not
They're
that
just
they had,
iron and
not that
pattern for the good of
the differences
the
were
process.
really ironed out
Women will
completely,
say,
but then
no,
they
no,
knew
no,
that
no,
we
no,
have
no, no,
to
no, no.
come together. But the women, many times, it's a do or die battle.
That is why I'm
Talking about
insisting.
coming
So
down
for-
to the grassroots. Sadia mentioned something about coming down to
Yes,
but you
grassroots, that's what I was
have
looking
women or you have men. We're not even like a attemptive for go to that grassroots.
Mamdi,
It
even if
is
they, no,
true.
even if they didn't
It
go,
is
they
true.
had
We have
people
seen
who
people
did the
come
work
in
for
and
them.
they buy an election.
No,
As
no,
in,
but we've
my
seen-
money can
no.
speak for me.
Maybe
and
they
I'm
didn't
giving
go, but they
it-
had
it's-
someone who
it's-
did the
but
work
we
for
also
them,
have
who
women-
went door to
we
door,
have
who
seen that.
talked to
Women-
people.
I just said people can
But we
ride
have
on
women also who did the same thing.
the political
But yet-
parties.
Yeah.
Yes, we still have
position.
women who did the same
It's
thing.
a popular party.
Have people go
So
to
you can
the
come and-
grassroots and do all sorts. Some even went down. Some women are really down there, but yet they didn't get the required support. to
Because
put them-
if you're an
party,
elite,
from
it's
the
hard to get the
political
grassroots.
You-
If you're grassroots, it's hard to get the
You
elite.
haven't
That's how
gotten
it
to
works.
that position where you're desperate enough. You
All
talk
right.
about it. You
It's
just
not-
talk. You just talk about it.
I think
so
we
how
can
do
do
you-
things even if you
Yes,
don't
if it
have a
gets to that
president.
position-
But I also think, Aja, what you, I mean, okay, so we're in rounding up now because time is up now. How do you think we should change this situation? Because clearly, based on the arguments or the submissions we've had, it's obvious that this issue is still there. Women, of course, we don't say we should support each other because we are women. I mean, for that fact, no. But we need to do more as women. How do you think this can change? Because you have been, like I said, working for a women's group and you're still part of it, that group. So what do you think we need to do as women? I mean, in terms of supporting one another in the workplace, in friendships, in politics, because clearly the support has not been that remarkable.
Yeah, we haven't had that remarkable support. But I believe that firstly, we have to change the rules of politics and the electoral processes.
That is
we
for
have to
politics.
institute
That's for
for politics
politics, yeah.
affirmative action.
Okay.
Affirmative action. And also, women who are up there, we should start grooming, mentoring, bringing other women, opening up our spaces to other women so that they know what we are about, and we have to seek their interest. If you belong also, we have to widen our circle as well. Belong to other groups where you meet with other women and other people, your network as well, where if you assist somebody to climb up the ladder, that person is never going to forget you. Try to see how many people you can mentor. We have to do that. We have to mentor younger girls. We have to meet with women at their own level, talk to them, and we have to continue the advocacy. Talk about these issues.
So that's for politics. How about other, like friendships? Okay, maybe I'll just pause.
Okay.
Have you hold on for a while and then have Donald quickly. How do you think we can change this whole support women thing?
One word.
Clearly, the support has not been so
One word.
great. Yes.
Desperation. Want it so badly that you would elect any woman as president.
Okay, so
just want it.
You both are
Want it so
focusing
badly.
on politics. Let's talk about general women's relationship.
Now, by
Friendships,
your
you know,
genealogical makeup, you have things you're not going to be capable to do. Your emotions are not as properly controlled and managed like men do.
No.
Because you are always willing to show it when it's there, and men are like, okay, me they kill you next year, but they be you.
No.
It's like I just said, most probably you change the rules. Now, if you want to survive in this world, you claim that it's a man's world. Understand the rules that are there, survive by those rules, and beat the men to the rules that they have set for themselves.
All right, okay, thank
Be
you.
desperate enough to want it to happen. Do everything that you can do.
In politics, in friendship, and what have you.
Everything. Just be desperate enough to want it. You're not desperate. You're
All right, okay,
just
thank you,
talking out.
Shadia.
So let me start by saying, first of all, women are emotionally intelligent people. Okay,
You're not
because when you
stable,
say
you're
that,
intelligent.
no, we're
That's the
emotionally
difference.
intelligent.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
the
one.
difference.
Then two, I think we need,
You're
it's a
stable.
mindset change. We need to understand that we're not each other's enemies. I think because we're maybe in many ways we've been socialized to think you're competing with another woman, and it's not even, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense. A woman just dresses better and you're jealous, and you think, oh, you just try to come up with many reasons, or she drives a better car and you think, oh, she must have slept with someone to get that car. We come up with so many things and accuse women. So it's about mindset change that, okay, if you compliment another woman, it doesn't take anything away from you. If you embrace another woman, it doesn't take away from you, because the truth is, and let's say this, even in politics, if we have women in positions of power, even if not in the presidency, but what about the women who are up there to represent us? If they pull other women in, if one woman wins, and they draw the women, then more women win. But when we have women in power, how many people have been able to create spaces, opportunities for other women to come forward? That's the thing.
All right, thank you, Hannah.
Yes, for me, I still do support Sada there as well, in terms of shifting our mindset from childbirth to the upbringing of a child. That's where it should start, and I guess it will become easier when we become adults. But at the same time, I like to just quote, use Tyler Perry's book, Think Like a Lady, Act Like a Man. I think that would go with what Donald has been saying, that we women, there are times we're too emotionally charged, that everything we see has to have an emotional meaning, men do not operate that way. So herein comes the rules, understanding the rules, how society runs. Again, we are victims of this patriarchy thing. So in changing all of that, sometimes you also have to understand how to play the game. So think like a man, but act like a lady.
All right. Hannah, you want to add?
Yes,
Just quickly?
yes, I tend to agree with them that we have to change the mindset. Our minds are set. However, it is so difficult, that process takes a long time. So what we have to do is change the rules. And when we change the rules, we find out that things begin to change for women in the society.
But how are we going to change the rules now?
Change the rules.
The rules are not written.
Yeah, we have to, first of all, I don't know, you change the rules, but then it means there has to be a shift in the mindset before the rules can be changed.
Change the rules to the formal system.
All right, change the rules to the formal system.
Which favors the men. And the men will never want to change something that...
Desperation.
That's
Desperation.
Can I just add
Be
quickly? I
desperate
think
enough
we
to
need to
change
harness like female power. There's so much power, and I think sometimes in this drive to act like men, we forget that there's so much power you possess as a woman, and you can still act like a lady and still get what you want. So it's not always about, so let's stop thinking that we need to act like men. I don't need to act like a man, but you can just try to understand the rules, but be the lady. Still,
You want to change the rules that are obvious.
All right. Ladies
Don't change the rules
and
from
gentlemen,
outside.
So viewers, this is how we wrap it up here today on Mamdi's Lounge. Today we had a part 2 on the topic, are women their own worst enemies? Well, again, Just
We
like
answered the question.
yes.
Oh, yes, you are still.
All right. So Davis Cole, our guest, Donald, is of the view that yes, women are their own worst enemies. All of us obviously do not think so.
Yeah,
we know there are a few issues here and there which needs to be addressed for us to be there. We are not there quite yet. But Sadia said something about changing the mindset. And Haja spoke about changing the rules. I mean, she wrapped it up by saying that we should change the rules through the formal sector, which to a great extent favors men. And Mr. Davis Cole says we need to be a little more desperate as women. We need to want it more so that we can be there. So I would say we are not our own worst enemies. I said it before and I'm saying it again. I know we are not there yet, but of course, with some more efforts, I'm sure we'll get there. So on behalf of all of us, my team and our guest for today's edition, it's been Mamdi's Lounge on AYV Television, and today we had this program at the Bintumani Hotel. Until next time when we come your way, I've been your host, Mamadi Gubekama, wishing you a good evening.